business would be the approval of the minutes from March 14th. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at them? Everyone good with them?
I'll move to approve those.
Okay, Billy. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, second. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to roll call. Tom?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Zilly?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And Lynn is an aye, so it passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to nothing. Just one note before we go to Sarah discussing the Business Development Showcase survey. Just I had asked Debbie to send out to everybody a copy of the response that the Select Board and the Planning Board had put together and sent to the state relative to their proposed MBTA zoning. I just wanted everybody to have a copy of it and to be aware of what it is that the state is proposing currently and what the town's concerns were, because there was some discussion on Facebook and people have misinformation about it. I think people were thinking it was low income housing and this is great. It'd be more affordable for people, or I should say affordable housing. They also, it appeared, were under the impression that we could scatter it about, put a couple downtown, put some on Route 1. And so I did post on, or I asked Debbie to post on the website, which she did, the actual response so people could look at it. And I just wanted you guys to all have a copy in case you weren't going on to the town website, and so that you could answer any questions or that you knew exactly what was going on. So Martha, I don't know if you want to add anything relative to that.
Yes, I would, because I was contacted by someone who had actually read all of the material and still thought that it was affordable housing. So I think it's really important that people are mixing these two things up. The 40B is what 40B is. It's stricter than this proposal, which has no affordable requirement. It has no profit cap. It has none of the features of 40B. But people continue to confuse these two programs. So spread the word. It's also worth noting the Mass Municipal Association and the Mass Municipal Lawyers Association did a joint, really comprehensive letter with their comments. They included some of what we did, not that they had seen ours, but they alluded to some of the same problems. But they also went into great detail with the legalities of the guidelines. That, the legislation is one thing, the guidelines overreach in a number of places. And so the legal folk, did a wonderful job of pointing out all of the problems, with the guidelines. So, it's worth, if you haven't seen it, it's worth taking a look at it if you're interested.
Where is their response, Martha, did you say? I'm sorry.
What's that?
Where was their response? Where could that be found?
It may be on the Mass Municipal Association website. If not, I'll see if I can find, Jenny Merrill sent it to me. Okay. So I do have a copy, but it's a really comprehensive, very extensive discussion of all the problems with this legislation and with the guidelines. So, okay.
If you are able to send a copy of what Jenny sent you, Martha, that would be great for everybody to be able to see that.
Sure. I know Kevin has a paper copy, right?
Yeah. If you go to Google MMA MBTA, it's actually right on their page, and I can send out the link directly to people too.
Okay, that would be great.
That would be good.
Thank you. Yeah, they were. I don't know what on Facebook they were referring to how people on the boards, and I don't know if they were referring to one or both select board and planning board in the past, has kind of put a kibosh on development. And they didn't refer to anything in particular. So I don't know what development that they're thinking about, but they were kind of getting worked up without having all the facts. So,
And these are further misconceptions. There are people who think that if we build lots of houses, that somehow or another their tax rate's going to go down. That there is just a complete misunderstanding of how town finances work, and that we've never, neither board has ever tried to squash good development. But I think the person that you're referring to was under the misconception that, you build a lot of houses and you build apartment buildings and you build condos and stuff, and that somehow or another the tax rate will go down, which, as we know, is not the case. That with family housing come lots of expenses for the town.
yeah. So next steps, I was talking with Kevin, timeframes. It looks like maybe this summer the state would be coming back with their updated, modified proposal or guidelines based upon all the input from the towns and the lawyers?
Well, I would hope so, because one of the points that Mass Municipal made was that, this train has kind of left the station, and there's this whole very tight calendar that towns have to register, and then they have to start figuring things out, and they have a very short time in which to do all of that. The point is that if the regulations are going to change, then various communities may be more willing to participate. The letter makes the point that under the current situation, communities would be discouraged really from participating in this program because of the difficulty with the guidelines. So I don't know whether they're going to change their calendar. The next deadline, Kevin, is the registration of the community, right?
Yes, I think they're going to provide us with final guidance though before that deadline, if I'm not mistaken. But there's a lot of balls moving for sure.
Right. Right. But you'd hope that they'd come up with guidelines that are more workable before they ask people to sign up for the program.
Right.
So I just wanted to share why that letter went out to you, and that I'm not sure if you had seen Facebook and some of the dialogue, but that at least our team can be up to date on what the proposal actually is and what the town has said about it. So, okay, so moving on to Sarah. I don't know, Kevin, if you want any intro comments about the showcase, and then turn it over to Sarah to give an update on the survey.
Sure, I'll get into it detailed in my updates on where we are with the showcase, but just generally, one of the things that we identified a few weeks ago, was trying to get some data that we can insert into the presentation piece of the showcase. And one of the things we thought that would be really helpful for people who are engaged and interested in investing would be, well, what does the community want? What's the community thinking? And we know that there was the one done in 19 during the MAPC survey, town revitalization effort, but we wanted to take that, modify it, and update it for some recent information and data points. So big thank you to Sarah and Zilly and Rosalie, who's also one of the members of our crew from this group, helping with the working group on the program, for really championing this. And Sarah and I went over it maybe a week and a half ago, and it's fantastic. Really great work done. So I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil all the good things that you're going to hear in a minute, but it's very much appreciated. So thank you, Sarah.
My pleasure. Will this allow me to share, Lynn?
Let's see. I do have a share screen.
It says host disabled,
Oh,
participant screen sharing. Can Kevin share it? I thought the best way to maybe go over this quickly, just so you know what I had in mind, was just review it by section, and then if anybody has any feedback on each section, and we'll try to do it quickly.
Yeah,
That
Kevin,
might be a good way to go.
I'm disabled as well. Kevin, can you?
I think if you send it to me, Sarah, and put it at the top of my inbox, I'll open it up. I think I can share.
You should be able to. I think I made you an editor. Do you remember how you accessed it last time?
I think his point is that if you send it, it'll be at the top of his inbox, then you won't have to go searching.
All right, let's see if it'll let me send again.
That's my suspicion.
You guys are learning about me. I appreciate that.
Like if you have it open in a quick share.
Okay, let's see if send form. Says to fill out a form, but that's fine. I think it's going to send you, Kevin, what it'll look like rather than the edit mode.
Just came
Might
through.
actually be better, right?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Here we go. I'll bring it up on my. Bear with me. I think last time Rosalie called me out on how many unread emails I have. So please don't notice that.
One other thing, while he's getting that ready, we couldn't really come up with it needs a title. I think we have it titled Topsfield Community Survey. If anybody has any brilliant ideas, let me know.
So I am actually disabled. I just went in the share and I had to drop down, and then I got to the last piece and it wouldn't let me go. Let me
I can reach Debbie.
here.
So neither Lynn nor Kevin have the capability?
I don't have share. Debbie's the host.
Oh, Debbie.
Is it? Can we share it with everybody? Sarah,
You
do you
could
think we
email it to us and we could pull it out.
Okay, hold on. Hold on a second. I'm having low bandwidth, so I'm just telling my kids to disconnect. All right, so send it to everyone.
If you can. Here, I'm going to send an email right now, Sarah, to everybody on the MMA letter. You want to you could just off of that send it to everyone.
All right, so Lynn to your Topsfield email, or?
Yeah, that's less filled than my regular one.
Okay. And then we have Zilly. Zilly, you have access to it already, right? Or do you want me to send it?
No, I'll find it.
Okay, Rosalie.
I don't think I get as many emails as Kevin, so I can.
Janet, coming to your Gmail. Dick, I don't have your email address.
Gant 5, Verizon Net.
Okay, Tom, it's coming to your Fresh Look Designs.
Yes.
Okay. Dick, what's your
The best way is on Topsfield-MA. It's D Gant.
Oh, that's tricky. That's why. Topsfield-mass.gov. Okay, who else is on here?
Me.
Because I'm not looking at the thing. Who's me?
Martha?
Martha. Got you. Martha, to your Gmail?
It doesn't matter. Either one.
Okay, it's coming to your Gmail. Anyone else on here? Let's see. Let's look. Tilly, Lynn, Tom.
Alex?
Is Alex on here?
Well, he will be, I guess.
Will be. Okay.
Sarah,
I might have the wrong version because my title, the version I have, the title says Topsfield Community Survey for Business Showcase Draft. Is that the correct one?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had.
Sarah, mine didn't come through. You sent it to the.
I haven't sent it yet. They're all going to come together. Hold on.
Okay.
Alex's Gmail. All right. Okay, it's sent. Let me know if everybody has it open.
Sarah, it looks like someone made you a co-host now too. So all of that, and you probably can share it.
Yay. All right. I'll
Yeah,
share.
just reach Debbie. She's on.
Okay.
But thank you. It's good for us to have it.
Yes, that it is good for anyone who's watching from home, for our big audience. Okay. So I've shared my screen. This is in the draft version, but basically I started with an introduction to explain to people the purpose of the survey, that we're having the showcase, what the showcase is going to do, who we're inviting, developers, retail, restaurant establishment, brokers, that they'll have a presentation and a lunch. They'll view, I grabbed this out of one of our minutes from another meeting about what the showcase was. So I said, we want to provide data to help define the market opportunity and provide people with an opportunity to have a voice. So the first section here is just the basic demographics. Where do you live? Topsfield or a neighboring community, size of your household, age range. What do you currently do in Topsfield? And you guys can look at this, I guess. Well, no, we can't collaborate outside of this meeting, but
We can give input back though, Sarah. Everybody can send input to Kevin and Debbie can consolidate it.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah, if there's anything that people think I should include in this category, just let me know. But I pretty much put the kitchen sink in there. So then the next section is desired business composition. And I made sure to note that growth in business does not necessarily mean new development, because we have a lot of spots in town where we have vacancies, retail vacancies, and commercial vacancies. So just, do you want there to be more businesses in Topsfield? Yes, no, maybe. What types of businesses, in terms of the goods and service they offer, do you want to see? Now, Zilly thought that this one was repetitive because I have another one that asks a similar question, but gives people the opportunity to respond relative to geographically in town where they'd like to see the different kinds of business.
Oh, you mean
So
like
next
Route 1 or downtown type
Yeah,
of?
hold on, it's this one right here, which is just, in what region of town would you like to see an increase in business activity by the following types? So it's a smaller list of types, and I put downtown, Route 1, other, or no increase desired.
Could you expand this one to include the list that you have above, but keep it in this format?
Yes, I could do that. It's pretty close. I might have done that, actually. I might have gone back and done that. Shared workspace. I think it is the same, Lynn, but I could do that. I can just check and then get rid of the other one.
Yeah.
And then I asked, and I don't know if this is relevant, but some people have an opinion about this, what types of business in terms of ownership structure do you want to see more of? I think people generally want to see, independently owned businesses in town, not some franchise of something else. But, I wanted to give people the opportunity to weigh in on that. Mm-hmm. And then I tried to go into a little bit more detail on retail specifically. What types of retail stores would you like to have in Topsfield? And, I tried to segment clothing a little bit, and then the other ones are more general. Some of these we already have in Topsfield, but I don't know if people felt like we needed additional ones. And, this is a list that if anybody had any other types of retail stores that they can think of, I can easily add. Next one is the same kind of question, but dialing into the types of service businesses, which we have all of these things, although I don't think we have karate anymore. Anyway, so that's the section on business composition. Does anybody have any general feedback?
Did you not include banks for a
I was going
particular
to
reason?
say, purposely left that off.
I also left off pizza. You know what? As a joke, I thought about putting pizza as its own category because people joke, but no, I can add bank.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
No, actually, there's financial services that we have some.
Should I just put generally financial services?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. I can expand that.
I think if we put banks, people are going to say no because we already have so many. But if you put other things like investment advisors, like you have,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to want another bank. And they could certainly put it in other if someone is hankering to have another bank in town.
You know, I should make bank its own, I guess.
Or maybe just take out accountants and just put in financial services. And that would cover everything, don't you think? Would that cover accountants as well?
I think so. Unless we want to have it more specific, right? Like if people
Okay.
don't want more banks, you know, maybe I put banks separately and then expand financial services and have accountants separately. And I can also move stuff around. So it's, you know, I can do, I could call this other financial services.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
But
Did
like you
anybody-
said, we do have a lot of that existing already.
So
Yes.
people just won't choose it. They'll say, no, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, should the
Kind of
question
for
be, would you like
Tuesday.
to have more of
The question is just, what type of new service businesses?
new service? Yeah.
So new could be more of, I mean, I can change the wording to like just additional services businesses instead of new.
I think additional makes, to me, it's somewhat more clear. I didn't say that the first time. The section above, I'd be interested to hear Tom's opinion on the category where it says stationary gift shop. Like, just I'm not, because it's not the business I'm in. If that title makes sense, or if you would rather if you can
Stationary,
put in a description.
I think stationary stores are a thing of the past. So, you know, where I am, the right expression was here for 25 years. People loved it, but people aren't going to a brick and mortar stationery store anymore. But we could put unique gifts or.
Would boutique be? No, not really.
But you know what? We have like two of everything. We do have two gift stores now. We have two.
We have the convenience store. We have the gift shops.
And then you have some that like double, like Lux, you know?
Right. Correct. Right.
Anyway, I just wanted to see if there was an opinion on that.
Do you want to include florist, Tom?
Yeah. Well, you know, Perfectly Imperfect, they do some flowers now too. I don't know how extensive, but I'm more of a specialty florist, personalized, custom things, so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any types of retail that anyone can think of that I don't have on here?
Secondhand shops. It's different than antiques.
What is it?
Secondhand. I mean, we have Francie's and Box Top. Or
You
thrift
mean-
shop.
We call that consignment.
Consignment, maybe. I mean, it depends. There's a difference, right, between consignment and thrift shop. So,
No.
Secondhand or slash.
I mean, you could just say consignment / thrift stores. But again,
Right.
I feel like a lot of these categories, as we've just said, we have two of at least of many of these categories.
I think the data
Consignment
will
thrift,
show
we have-
that. I think having people say not choose them will just demonstrate that there's not a need for them.
I mean,
Yeah,
if I
that's
had to
The ones
guess,
we have.
what
Yeah.
everyone feels like, what I feel is missing that used to be here, like, is the pharmacy. And
Yeah.
that was really nice.
And how about a gourmet grocer? I know people would want a gourmet grocery store.
Is that
Yeah.
under a different category though? It's not
No, it's
retail,
just-
right?
As grocer large and grocer
I
small.
put it up above. I had it up
Yeah.
above. I had that is actually, I had grocer large, grocer small, and then down
Yeah.
below this one, I made just grocer. So I'll add it when I get rid of that other question. I'll do grocer large, grocer small.
Mhm.
Okay. That's
I
good.
think- Yeah, people would want a privately owned gourmet grocer. I don't mean gourmet, but like a privately owned Whole Foods, that kind of thing. That's what people would really like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we need large grocer. I think we should keep small because people do like the idea of small.
Well, we're trying to collect that data. We want them to tell us that they don't want that.
Want
Right.
a large? Yes, they do. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, we just want them to tell us that yes, they'd be interested in a small grocer, but not a big one.
Yeah.
And I want it to show like that.
Yeah.
I want it to want the people to tell us.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, if we have a bunch of gift shops, you know, that is likely to not get checked, which is, you know, but it gives us the data points of, you know, what are we actually shopping for when we're trying to find businesses to come in.
We find their needs that they're not seeing in our town, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like,
And the ones that are.
the co-op has every single one of these things pretty much.
Yeah,
Right.
that's another good point. And then like a lot of toys in bookstores also, there's overlap.
Yeah.
Were you going to add florist or some floral?
I can. I mean, yeah, I think we should put everything. Is florist,
Everything.
is that retail or yeah. I think we should put as much as possible, even though we have a lot of these. I mean, I think what we're gonna see is what people really feel is missing is restaurant food.
That's going to be the number one.
Yeah. So I made a whole section just for restaurants, just so everyone knows.
Okay.
That's
I was
why
gonna say,
I just did kind of retail and services here, but then I really wanted to dial in to more detail on the restaurant side.
We absolutely need more banks. So
Yeah.
absolutely need that.
so now, Sarah, where are you putting restaurants?
There's another section.
Whole section.
Yep.
Oh, there it
Full
is.
section on its own.
Okay.
So I said, that there was during the visioning session, a large response in support of restaurants. So we wanted to, this section, we want to get feedback on what people are looking for and also consumer habits in town. What types of restaurants, new restaurants do you want to have in Topsfield? So I went with, hold on, my kids are yelling. Okay.
We can't hear them.
I went with some categories. These are kind of categories that are used in the restaurant business. I didn't put fast food on this. I put fast casual, and I tried to define a little bit what each one was. Family style, bar pub meaning that it's like alcohol focused with like a pub menu.
Mhm.
And then contemporary casual, fine dining, and I put bakery in here too. And then, how many full service restaurants do you want to have in Topsfield? Maybe I should define full service restaurant, but I think most people know that.
Well, you should maybe say like table service, like this includes table service or sit down dinners, something like that, because
Yeah.
Would the bagel bin be considered full service?
What's that?
Bagel
No,
bin.
no, because
It would
you
be
order at the
fast
counter.
casual.
That's a counter service. They don't come to the
that's a
table and
fast
take your order.
casual.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think the definition would help because it could be.
Full service means a wait person comes to your table. Is that correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
full service.
If you order
Sarah,
at the table.
there are a bunch of definitions for types of restaurants in the zoning bylaw under definitions.
I don't know that we actually need we're just looking for like what the average human is going to say.
Right.
Consider full,
Yeah.
full service.
Full service is, of course, where, there's a server. The limited service is counter. counter, you go to the counter and you order your food and then you take it to the table. Those are two different types.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about using fast. Someone is sure to notice that we do not allow formula fast food, in Topsfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like them to say that, though.
Right.
I think that
didn't put-
having it there is like, we're going to see the data that it shows that there is like, nobody's checked that off. And we want those points just to kind of see the contrast of what people really do want. If you leave it off, you leave it open to suggestion or even wonder. Well, why can't we have it? We don't want that. We just want all of the data to show as much as we possibly can that this is the whole town is going to reflect. Nobody really wants that to hear anyways. We just want the point to be shown there in case
Right. Okay.
it's ever investigated.
Can I ask you a
Martha, I
question?
did not put fast food. I put fast casual, which means counter service.
Okay.
But I can maybe expand on that a little bit.
Well, what if you just took the word fast out? There's casual counter service and there's casual table service.
I still think I want that data point though.
You want fast food?
I think that if you want to break them up, that's fine. But I still think that when we do the business showcase, we're still going to want to show that there is no appetite for that type of business here, whether it's allowed or not. I still want to show it.
So it should be separate though, because the fast casual is most of what we have.
Where we can just, but fast food, and then you can just make it casual, which would be counter service.
Mm-hmm.
And what if you put how many full table service restaurants do you want to have in Topsfield?
Yeah. Well, I'll put how many full
Table service restaurants do you want to have in Topsfield? Which would mean a wait staff would have to come to your table and take the order, correct? Because I think people do want that. I mean,
they do want that.
They'll tell you.
They'll tell us.
Confusing it all, having table service, because in my head, I'm picturing that, the bagel bin does bring your food to the table.
Oh, that's different though. You still order at the counter. Table service
That's
means
true,
somebody
but
serves
I'm
you from the table.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if then the definition is more order at the table or order taken at the table. Something, because table service implies to me that someone brings it to your table, not just that you're ordering from it. It could be either.
So how could we make that clear? Instead of saying full service or table service,
Just put waiter. Just put waiter.
wait service.
Wait service. Yep.
Waits,
Yep.
That's good.
how many full service wait staff restaurants do you want to have in Topsfield?
Yeah, hold on. Let's do that. Full service.
Wait staff. Like non-gender.
Right. Wait staff, not waiter or waitress. Yep.
Correct.
Wait.
Right.
Staffed ED or staff?
I think just wait staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. I just did 1, 2, 3, more than 3 or none.
Perfect.
Now, should I put none first to make it in order?
Yeah,
No.
good idea.
I don't know.
No, I think
Rosie
perfect. I
said
think
no.
Just instinctually, I think that we want, just for me, filling out surveys, I think that you want them to consider, well, one wouldn't be so bad, but if none is first and that is their go-to, their
Yeah,
go-to is
so-
going to be to check no.
You did-
That's definitely why I put it. Oh, and this shouldn't be a checkbox. They can only pick one. So
Yeah, multiple choice. Choose one.
yeah. That's why I put it last, because there's a, however you anchor it in someone's brain, the question. So,
I mean,
It's a real thing.
most tests put none at the bottom anyway.
yeah, I think so. Okay. Okay, so I said, how many times per month do you dine out, including all segments from fast food to full service? And I just came up with these ranges on my own. So I kind of was going for like once a week or more than once a week,
Yeah.
But I was putting
Oh,
it
it's
from
awesome. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent.
You know,
Okay.
but excuse me, but I'm getting a little concerned about the length of the survey. That, I mean, I know it's really good information that we're trying to gather, but you're going to lose people eventually if it's going to take more than 3 minutes to fill out the survey.
It took me about 3 to 5 minutes to read it the first time Sarah sent it. It's just we're spending so
Okay.
much time retooling each question that it feels like
Okay.
it's very long. But when I read it, when she first sent it to me, I was able to read it. I think I went back to look at a few things because I was making notes at the same time. But it's 3 to 5 minutes as you're checking through, and it automatically prompts you to go to the next. It's not a very long survey. It's just we were spending a lot of time with some minute details sorting it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should definitely be, keep it under 4 minutes, you know, if not, you know, people are just going to drift. They're going to like go, ugh, I'm not going to do this. So,
Well, I
okay,
think
just warning.
Well, the other thing is though, like, unless it's, okay, this might sound there, unless it's fun. Like if you're a person, you're like, yes, finally, I want to tell you, I want restaurants in Topsfield. I want to tell you what I want. They might be like, yes, okay, let me think about this. But I hear what you mean. Like I was trying to like aiming for like a 5 minute. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I think, I'm not sure if I put it at the top, but I think it'd be helpful to tell someone like this survey should take you approximately 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I should add that.
Yeah, I think that would be, good.
That was one of the feedback points, right? To just at the beginning tell people what to expect.
Yeah.
And that way I know, I like to know, like if it's 2 minutes, I might just do it in the car. But if I know it's going to be at least 5 minutes, I might wait till I'm like,
Well, true. Like
Not
if it's a
gonna get
15-minute
interrupted.
survey, you know you need to be in front of a computer. But if it's less than 5 minutes, you can do it on your phone while you're waiting for your kid for practice or the doctor to come in, whatever it is, right?
But you know what I have to say? I think people, honestly, not that I know a million people in the town, but they want to express their input. They're going to want to, it's just check marks. They're going to want to read the check marks. I mean, I just have a sense about that with the people in the town. And we're not asking them to write anything like a big paragraph or anything, right? Just checking off these.
No, it's mostly check boxes or there are a
I
few
did
places
put,
where you can fill.
if people have paragraphs they want to write, I left spaces in each section. The end of each section. Is there anything you want to tell us? Put it here.
There are no mandatory spots where you have to type in your opinion.
Right,
It's just check, which is why it does actually move fast.
You know,
Yeah.
people they're craving for certain things in the town, and they're going to want to take a few minutes to do this. Honestly, mark my words, they really will.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree, Tom.
and
That's
Sarah,
good
you did.
feedback, though, Janet. Thank you.
You did put in your intro, I just exited full screen to peek, and you did have a time. So we should just make sure it might be better to say like approximately 5 minutes. I think right now it says 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So
Yeah, the extra 5 minutes is for the people that have very big opinions that they want to share.
yeah.
And people will. I guarantee we're going to get paragraphs on some of these sections.
Yeah, I went back and I looked at the data we collected with the visioning section, and there were a lot of big, lengthy comments that people had, that people made. And, you know, there is a lot that people misunderstand about what can be done in town too. So,
Correct.
Yep.
Right.
Sarah, just to that point, is what is in this survey a duplication of anything from that visioning session? Is it just more current data now post-COVID, or is this new?
So it's over 2 years, right?
It has
The last one?
overlap. I mean, the kinds of stores and that kind of thing, it has overlap. And I mentioned that at the beginning that, you know, we did gather a lot of this information at the visioning session, but that people's lifestyles and their home, like where they work and where they're spending their time has changed a lot, and likely changed permanently, or at least for, I mean, I can speak to John, who used to go into the city every week, and now he goes into the city once. And, you know,
That was in the intro?
yeah. So I
Great.
put in the intro that, you know, that people's habits have changed. So some of the stuff you've seen before, but we want to gather it again for that reason.
Okay, great.
Sarah, can I ask, did we put anywhere on here about public restrooms? I'm not saying we should build a toilet, but did we put it on here anywhere? Because
No.
from experience, there are businesses or a business that does not allow people to use their restroom. And I think that's appalling, honestly. And this is a food establishment place. So I don't know how we should do it, but I think that maybe it's a separate issue that we should tell food service places that they, as a courtesy, they really should let their customers use the bathroom. Because I think that's an issue. I experienced it myself, and I think that's an issue. But maybe that's another whole thing. I don't know, but I think it's important.
You know, I know that Zoomies has a bathroom now.
Yeah.
We'll have a changing table soon too.
Wonderful. It's nice to be able to have coffee and use the bathroom.
Let's go through and then we can come back to that and figure out if there's a place we should put it.
All
Okay.
right. Yep.
So this question says, you know, it's trying to gather data on how much money people spend when they go out to eat. And yeah, this question kind of makes you think a little bit about your habits, and it might be confusing. But I said in a typical month, how many times do you spend the following amounts per person at a restaurant? So not including tax and gratuity. So like, you know, I go to Bagel Bin once a week, at least, right? So I would check that probably in the 5 to 15, and, you know, I would check 4 or more, you know, so it's that kind of thing. Like, oh, you know, I might go out to like a nice restaurant once a month, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd put the 40 per person 1 to 3 times a month, you know, so that's what I'm aiming to get with this question. Does anyone think it's too confusing?
That's awesome, because if someone wanted to open a restaurant in town, you could show them the survey. You could show them that most people are willing to spend more than $40 per person. That way the restaurateur will cater to that or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess I don't know what kind of feedback we'll get where like we can draw real conclusions, but I think it at least gives a sense for trend and that kind of thing.
I think it's great.
Okay, cool. So this one, let's see what I have here. On average, how much do you spend in total per month eating out? And I'm including all segments, fast food to full service. And
everybody's going to answer that question and then cut back.
yeah, right.
Holy moly.
Well, has anybody been out to dinner, either a couple or a family? You know, we haven't been out to dinner in a year that was under $100 for the 4 of us.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to...
I tried to make this, that's a good question. Did I make, this is in total, yeah, not per person. So that other question was looking at spending per person. This one's like your household, how much are you spending?
Yep.
But I don't know if that's clear.
Mm.
It might be a little low, just to the point. We just went to PF Chang's, 4 of us, and it was 190.
Listen, we went to Five Guys, and it was $70. I mean, we were like, we didn't even know what we were doing. It was 4 cheeseburgers and 2 fries and some drinks, and we were like, what? So everything is more expensive now. I don't think that my point was to Zilly. I don't think people that are eating out aren't gonna pull back. I think they're still gonna.
Well, I'm teasing. Like that would be me. I would be like, oops, we better.
Yeah.
Just say how much does your household spend?
What's the benefit of this question for the?
I know. Do you think we need that question? I don't think we need it, but.
Well, I think that if we're presenting this in the numbers are on the higher side, which I presume they probably are because we have a lot of families in this community.
Yep.
Okay.
It could show to a potential restaurateur saying, okay, they have the money and they're spending the money.
And we're spending it elsewhere right now.
Right. Exactly. They're not doing it in Topsfield, but there's a chance to bring that money to my bottom line.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
One other quick question. This is kind of taken out of the weeds for just a second, but it's a general question for the entire survey. And Sarah, we didn't talk about this, but should we preface any of this with pre-COVID versus during COVID? Or do we sort of let it lie and let people kind of say under normal circumstances, traditionally this is what we would spend? Because a lot of people locked down for 2 years and still people are reluctant necessarily to go out. So just a thought. I don't know if anyone has I throw it out for discussion.
No,
I think that she had noted that life has changed in the beginning. Like life has changed. Is this, we're looking to collect the right now data as we're presenting this year. Doesn't mean that I think
No,
that
I think
people
that's a
are
very
doing
good
a little
point.
bit more of both. I think people are staying home now. Are they going to find lunch in Topsfield? Are they getting their
Versus in
coffee from the
Boston.
local place rather than they're driving to the city and they're eating in Boston? It does kind of make that notation that life has changed since COVID.
I have
Well,
other
I think
questions where I do.
That's a very good point. I think that's a
Yeah.
very good point that Kevin's making. I mean, that you either have to say pre-pandemic, what were your habits with these following questions, or we have to zero in on the current time. Like
So
Rosie
I don't
just
think
said.
we need to know pre-pandemic anymore. I think it's
I
all
don't-
looking
that's it.
forward.
That's all right. It's all forward based.
And we have that data.
Well, then what are they
years ago.
answering the questions? If they're answering these questions and they've had this complete change in their habits for the past 2 years, have they really caught up and to what they're doing on a normal basis right now?
But this will give us a judgment on this point in time, though, which is important, I think, for businesses that want to invest in the town. I mean,
I think we have to look at it right now. We're trying to get businesses to come in within the next year. We're not going to say, well, this behavior might change because we have no idea if it will. We know that there's a want and a need for it right now. People want this stuff right now. And what do they want? And where are they spending their money? If you have the option to have dinner at home or close by to your house, you're going to do that. Maybe you still go into Boston, but if you have that option, not drive to downtown Beverly to have dinner or not drive to downtown Danvers, and you can just get it locally, it's a higher, and that's what we're trying to, I think, show that there is opportunity here, not to say that we're not trying to scare them away that this might change in a year if everything goes back to normal. We're trying to show that there is money here and that people do want to spend their money here and will.
yes,
Kind of that if you build it, they will come
exactly.
strategy.
Exactly.
Well, that's
You tell
true,
them
but a lot of these questions are your habits, and the habits have changed. That's
But
that's
it's
my
been 2
point.
years. How much, what are we
Well,
looking at?
That's true. Then maybe the paragraph in the beginning, I think somebody alluded to it that Sarah put in there that, things have changed. We're back to normal. What are your habits now? I mean, you could almost allude to that. I don't know how you would do it, but I think that's a factor.
So one of the things I can do with the data is preface that this is data in real time, that this actually represents maybe less people who are going out to dinner potentially because we're coming out of a pandemic. I know I've got 3 little kids, 2 of which aren't vaccinated. I'm not going out to restaurants with them. I'm getting takeout. Maybe that's 1 for 1, but I can certainly make take the data and say it in a way that frames it as this is like the minimum. It's only going to get better, guys, right? And I wonder, Sarah, you went through, and Rosalie, you guys went through, I think, to some extent, the 2019 survey. And I'm not sure off the top right this minute, but maybe there's before and after data there too that we could look at and
I
sort of
can certainly
show.
see some of the questions that are similar and try to match them up and say,
Right.
okay, this was said pre-pandemic, this is after
Right.
pandemic. And,
Right.
I can look at those when we get to building what we want this to look like for the showcase.
Bingo. Yeah. That
I'm
because
not
we
sure
have
they
the
had
data.
I'm not sure they had any questions like this though. The questions are more like, what do you feel like is missing from downtown Topsfield? So for me, this section, I was trying to define what the market opportunity is. Like what is the part of the budget that people spend dining out, which I was thinking dining out includes takeout.
Yes, it does. It's stuff you don't make at home.
If I just kind of say, including takeout, that would, maybe that piece of it over the course of the pandemic, if we're in more of a, a high spread period of time, people get more takeout, but then when metrics get better, then those dollars are spent in a restaurant, but they're still being spent in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
Sarah,
maybe-
On average, you put on average on a lot of these questions. I think we should leave everything just the way it is. It says on average, how much do you spend? On average, how far do you drive? I mean, I think that makes sense. It's on average, averaging things out on average.
Okay.
I think you should leave it like that. I think that it's good that we analyze it, but I think we want this place and time, and on average. It's not a perfect world. Like on average, what do you spend each month per person?
Okay. I am going to add in there, including takeout.
Yep. I think just add that one
to the questions, so that's clear. It's not like dining. How do you spend dining out? Doesn't mean like that you're physically at the restaurant.
Yes. Yes. And just use the word average. Use the words on average in some other areas, I guess, if you need to.
Okay.
And I think the other takeaway to Tom's point is like the data that we'll be giving from this survey is expressed in that way, like saying this is on average a snapshot of in time right now, because I think looking back isn't helpful. Looking forward is hard to predict.
Correct.
So if they get the snapshot of right now, like what Kevin said before, if anything, it'll only get better.
right. And then if we're still, identifying parcels that can be commercially done, we'll have this data, say 2 years from now, we can go back, we can reboot the survey and, remove the COVID stuff, whatever it is, wherever we are in real life time, and say, okay, 2 years ago, this is where we were. This is what people were spending, and this is what they wanted. Did we fill this need?
Mm-hmm.
And then these things will change. Okay, does the price point go up? And are people eating out more or less? We will have a backbone for data to continue to build off of stuff.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Marshall, we can hear you. Don't yell at your kid in front of us.
Oh, sorry.
All right, I'm going to keep moving on. So then I did, how far do you currently travel to dine out? I think that's interesting. And where are people going? So I did all the contiguous towns plus, the Newburyport, Salem, Boston.
You put New Hampshire on there. Just kidding.
And I can put, Paris, I guess.
When everybody starts going there for gas.
It's no cheaper. I'm there once or twice a week. It's no cheaper.
Yeah.
Actually, if you want cheap gas, go to Middleton, $3.69.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I can ask them. Okay, so that's that section. Then this section, work-life patterns of behavior. How have people's behaviors changed? So here I said, I did preference these questions with before pandemic and after, right? So before pandemic, how many times a week did you patronize Topsfield businesses? Since the economy has reopened, on average, how many times a week do you patronize Topsfield businesses? Going forward, assuming a return to normal or stabilized new normal, on average, how many times a week do you intend to patronize Topsfield-based businesses?
Does it matter what they did before, Sarah?
I think that the question is in there to balance out the other two.
My hypothesis is that that people's patterns have changed significantly.
That's why I wonder if it matters.
People's patterns have changed, and I think it'd be interesting to know if that's true or to what extent that's
like
true.
that they might be shopping more locally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I think you suddenly realized during the pandemic how amazing it is to have a place right nearby that you could just grab a couple quick things.
Yeah.
Without exposing yourself to the big
Skills,
market.
Co-op, the Dawson's,
Yeah.
Tom's place. I mean, bake shop. I mean, I feel like I do a lot more in town when I can.
And I haven't gone back to doing stuff elsewhere. We still
Yeah.
prefer to stay in town.
Yep.
A lot of people do. You're right. A lot of people still, yes.
Okay, so then I have this next series of questions aims to understand how your commuting behavior has changed since the pandemic, assuming we have achieved a return to normal or new normal. So it says, do you now expect to work more days from home than prior to the pandemic? Yes, no, or not. It doesn't apply. then is this the one that I think is confusing? No. Prior to the pandemic, how many days per week did you typically commute outside of Topsfield for work? And I put 0 to 7. Assuming a new normal. Okay, so how many more days per week do you plan to work from home than before the pandemic began?
I mean, do you think we need that question? You asked them before and then after, but I don't know.
So I say, how many days did you used to commute? And now I want to know how many days that you used to commute are you now instead working from Topsfield? So I said, if you used to commute 5 days, but now you work from home 2 days, your answer would be 2. If you always work 2 days from home, then your answer would be 0.
Would you just do before and now, or with the new now? How many days will you, instead of
the reason I didn't do that is because I wasn't sure if I would be able to like easily link respondents' answers. Because what's relevant is for like a single person, what they're before and what the difference is.
Oh, I see.
Is that really, what kind of data are you going to use that for? I mean,
For people spending money in town.
Because they're here more
Because they're
days.
here versus like where they used to commute to and potentially do stuff after work, during work, whatever. Are they now here in town?
Well, can you consolidate those two questions just to say, how many days a week do you expect to be working from home, post-pandemic?
Yeah, I could probably get rid of the first question, right?
Yeah, you might just consolidate it into one question to say, how many days a week are you now going to be working from home post-pandemic?
I agree. Good. That's a good point.
Okay, so I'll remove that one.
Perfect.
Am I just a little voice from the universe, or do I have my video on too? I don't know. I don't see myself here.
Your video
saw you earlier.
We can see you, Janet.
I'm just a little voice.
A little voice from the universe. Or a big voice from the universe.
So that's all that's in that section. So those are kind of, it's not too, there's just that one really complicated question. This one, I don't know, I guess it's not that complicated, but the next section is just general. And this is to give people a chance to weigh in on, have we made any progress? Do you like the progress we're making? So how important do you feel it is to improve the appearance of downtown Topsfield? How important do you feel it is to improve the appearance of the Route 1 business district? And then I put in some information about everything since the visioning session. The following efforts have been made to improve and activate downtown Topsfield. And I just need Kevin to go through this and add anything that's missing. And I was trying to also indicate where the funds came from, because the point is a lot of the progress that we've made, we've been able to utilize grant and state funding.
I think that's important so people know it's not just their money that we're using. We are applying for grants. I think we should tell people that often.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the, I wanted just people to say like, well, they might, I wanted people to answer, or maybe I shouldn't put that first. So the next question is, how satisfied are you with the efforts to improve the appearance of downtown Topsfield?
I think you should leave that piece first, so people can kind of look at it and say, okay, these are the things that have been done, because they might not make the connection between the two.
Right. Yeah.
I think you need to tell them first and then let them respond to see, oh yeah, I did like all this stuff that they've done since 2019.
Right. Okay.
Everybody is going to say they very much want downtown improved, and they're going to be thinking of the shopping center.
Well,
Comments will
Precisely.
be all
everyone wants that.
There's going to be paragraphs and paragraphs about the Topsfield Village Shopping Center. I mean, it looks like Ukraine right now.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Sarah, one item on that list of accomplishments or up on that, I just read through it. Master plan. I think that, and this entire survey is going to be used for the business development showcase, but it might be worth noting that, something to that effect, just to reemphasize it at the end. Just a thought.
We also had the outdoor dining section in front of Alex's, and the bump
Oh,
outs with the
that
hay
off?
bales.
Oh, the parklet.
Yeah.
Parklet.
And then what are those called again? The curb, the
The
trout.
bump outs.
Yeah, but there was a word for them, like quieting.
Well, bump outs are supposed to
Traffic
quiet
calming.
traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that up here because that was, I'll just do this later. So this was the parklet in front of Alex.
And Kevin, is that going out in the spring in front of Alex's again?
It is. We might get one more year out of it. We were looking at it up at the garage last week. It's been outdoors all winter. We're going to either power wash or replace the floor of it, but it's the sides actually look really, it's quintessential Topsfield in my mind, because they're sort of weathered.
Yeah,
boards.
but I think we could do like a light gray stain on it or something. I don't know. It just looked like it was a little I know what you mean, but like a semi-transparent stain on the outside. I think it needed to be freshened up a little bit, but.
Okay. Yeah. And we're going to put planters out again. Martha, thank you. And we'll put planters on either end of it. And I know that there were some, Terrence, they bought some planter. I think they bought, or maybe it was actually, it might've come from,
Oh,
the planters top of the,
Yes,
top
yeah.
of the walls. That kind of
But all the plants in those died. I mean, they
got water.
Yeah, they never got watered. I don't know what was going on there.
Sarah, I can give you some more too before we launch this. We don't have to do it right now, but I can
Okay.
give you.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's great. I just put brackets on stuff. So, and I just want to put, so I know to go in there. Okay.
Yeah, I would just say if we have the Tomato Festival, we probably want to give a shout out to the concert that Kathleen had put on the Common. There was a title for that. Was it the summer concert? Or
Yeah, that was Cultural Council
Oh, with Kathleen? It was,
Yes.
summer concert.
concert on the Common or something like that, just so people.
Okay. All right, good. The next section is very quick,
And it's only relevant to the people that own the businesses. So they get an extra minute in their survey.
so basically, have you ever owned or operated a business? And if you have, do you have anything to say to us privately in your own text box?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have anything we should add here?
And if it's really, really good, we'll put it in the presentation.
But we can do like comment bubbles, like then that say like, this is what it's like to own a business here. Hopefully we get some good ones.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Zilly, Alex.
Would you want to add something that just says like, would you be willing to be contacted if we wanted you to be like a reference for anyone who's thinking about coming to Topsfield?
Oh, you want us to invite the potential newcomers to interact with the
Grumpy
other
people,
business people who have made
It just crossed my mind as something. Not that we would, but just to know if they would be willing to be on that list.
Wouldn't we want to put what type? Wouldn't we want to know what type of business they are thinking of opening, or what type of business they had here?
No, I think this question is very generic on, what is it like to do business here, period. I don't care what kind of business it is.
No,
Yeah.
but what if
Really don't.
I'm interested in opening a business in Topsfield? Wouldn't we want to know what type of business they would like to open?
That for
This is
the
for people
purposes I'm
already-
looking for it for what I'm looking for it as and how it should be shown is no. We want to know what it is like to do business here. And I don't care if it's a restaurant or a shop or they own, it's law and welding. I want to know what they think it's like to do business here. Because if there's enough positive, that's what we're going to use.
No, but the question says no, but I'm interested in opening a business in Topsfield. Wouldn't we want to know what type?
Oh, the last option.
No.
Oh, why? Why wouldn't we though?
Because there's so many options to be here. We don't really want to know. And if we collecting, are there data points where they fill out their name and stuff, Sarah? Right? We get their information.
No, there's not. So this was going to be a question like, do we need to specify that comments they might make?
Can we add, if you are considering opening a business in Topsfield, put your email and it's optional? So we have that, and then maybe we can pass out the business showcase information to them. Like, hey, if you're interested, we're doing this.
Why don't I do this?
Yeah, because to Tom's point, I feel like it's targeting two totally different audiences.
But the question is supposed to be very basic and broad. I think that we're not going to go through and ask, okay, if you want a restaurant here, what's that like? Because what are there, four, five maybe here, right? We're just asking broad.
But the question says, have you ever, but then it asks, one of the options is no, but I'm interested in opening.
Right. I want to know what type of business they want. Why wouldn't we want to know what type of business they want to open?
No, I'm talking, it says, it asks for information based on giving feedback about owning a business in Topsfield, right?
So there shouldn't be an option of saying no.
The reason why I put, so originally, I'm in my head making up these questions, right? So I said, no, but I've explored opening a business, because someone who's explored opening up a business, there's a reason why they didn't. And it would be helpful for us to know if that reason had something to do with the town or the zoning, something that happened in town hall or,
pandemic, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I said I explored. And then I don't know why I did that one. I was just, my brain was trying to come up with every possible.
Well, I like that one because it's, looking, maybe those are people like, all right, they do have a business model or something that they're interested in. If we can add that down there, like where we collect their email so that we could further that.
How about here, if you are interested in opening a business in Topsfield, would you like to be contacted? If so, please give us your email address. So that kind of opens the door that if they are interested and they have questions or whatever, conversation, can start.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the thinking on these replies?
All right.
Can't hear me?
There you are.
Oh, okay. What was your thinking and how you would use this with people who are coming to the showcase? So if someone said, yes, I did explore it, or, 6 people explored it.
So then I think that they would be on maybe the invite list. They're exploring or interested in opening a business in Topsfield. We can send them the invite to be notified, like, all right, what properties are available? Do they still want to do a business model? That you could collect that and then almost like reach back out and say, is this still something you're interested in? And do you want to be part of this?
Okay. So it's, if you're interested in opening, okay. And how about the ones I currently operate? Is that data that you want to give back to the people who are attending the showcase to say 16 people operate a business in Topsfield of the people who responded?
Yeah, it's a good data point. Plus, I think the more thought to the question was, I like the bottom question where it's asked, what is it like to own a business here? That's what, you're trying to collect kind of that small business owner, or, how is it to own a business here? I mean, if it's all negative, then I don't even like, what are we going to do with that? But I mean, if there are some really good pieces, like the community is really welcoming, and, we have a lot of regulars, or, we provide a lot of this for the area, or, we have steady stream of business. We've been here 100 years, whatever it is. That stuff we can take and market when we do the business showcase. We
does
can
it
use
help to
those
know
things.
what type of business it is with that content?
No.
They'll end up telling you if they fill out that part, you'll know.
Yeah, we don't need a specific question for that. They're going to fill it out, good, bad, or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, by reading it, we'll know what it is.
So I feel like those last 2 questions should be in the opposite order. Like that, if you're interested, should be the last question, my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess my only last question is, let's just say someone does provide some feedback and we have follow-up questions related to it. Like if it's something really specific, like, do you want to have an opportunity for the existing business owners to let you know who they are and how to contact them? Since the rest of this is anonymous, right?
I think we have,
helpful because they may not give you what you're looking for. Maybe a conversation with them would get it.
I guess that's what I'm wondering. Like if they say something and we're kind of like, oh, we can fix that for you in 2 seconds, or, oh, wait, explain that. That'll help us figure out things for,
But where would they say that?
The part where it just says, please provide any comments that you have on what it is like to do business in Topsfield here.
Okay.
So I guess I just wanted to, if you guys want to be able to have the option of following up with someone, they can optionally give you their contact.
Would you like to be contacted?
Or can we, if we have,
To discuss.
I don't want them to expect to be contacted. I just want to know that we have permission and a way to.
Yeah, I was thinking it too, but I also don't think we're going to have like a huge number of businesses that it will answer this survey and want to be contacted.
Yeah, that's true. Because we only have so few to begin with.
Right.
Half of us are on this call.
Right.
Along those lines, Sarah and Rosalie and Zilly, any thought on how you're going to get this out to the businesses? Because we actually have a number of businesses in town. They're just not retail. They're still in town.
That's a good point. Can we get a billboard, Rosalie? One maybe?
yeah, you could maybe spare a week or 2. So it'll go Facebook, obviously, it'll go Twitter, it'll hit the social pages, right? And then additionally, we can make a QR code for this survey. And it's easy enough to, mail them a little printout that says, hey, scan this with your phone for Topsfield Business Survey, whatever it is, flyers. It can be more than just online. I think it needs to be a little bit more than online. I don't think you're going to get some of the businesses to do anything like that, but just a simple mailer that says, hey, look, we're looking for this data. Help us out, postcard style or whatever. They're easy enough to make.
Yeah.
Would this go in 2 pieces? Like, I don't know, would a business take the time to answer all the other questions up top?
Well, a lot of our businesses are owned by people who live here.
Are they? I don't know.
I mean,
I think so.
I think they might.
Sorry, Sarah.
We can also just, if we do like a separate post, we can say, for any businesses, there is a section, you don't have to fill out the whole thing if you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a section where you can provide feedback.
I just wouldn't want them to give up. Their time is so precious. They don't have a lot of time. If they look at the beginning and they're like, this doesn't pertain to me, or I don't have the time to fill this out. If what we want from them is really this section.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to break it up though.
Maybe at the top.
I think it'll be too much if we break it up and we're trying to get two different, then you're building a whole nother server. And it's too much to try to put it all together.
Or refer them to the business section.
Maybe at the top, say if you are a business owner, you can skip directly to section 5, 6, whatever it is, 6.
Okay.
Or 5.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an owner, and I have I'm a business owner, but I have opinions about those other questions up above also.
Yeah, and those people spend money in town. So how many times a week are they eating out in Topsfield? I want those questions answered too. If they come here to work, I want, if they come across the Servway and they work in Topsfield 5 days a week because they're driving here and then they eat lunch here 5 days a week. I'd like those questions. If we can get them to answer them, I'd like them to at least scroll and try.
Yeah, at the top, you can say that this is comprehensive. It's for residents, it's for businesses, and we would love you to fill out the whole thing. But if you are not interested in filling out the first part and you just want to deal with business, skip directly to section 6.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the option.
That sounds great, Martha. I agree with that.
I could go either way. I agree, hear what you're saying, Martha, but I also, if we could collect their information, it would be good. Like,
I don't want them to try to skip it.
If I was a business owner and I read, I can just skip it, I would skip it. I wouldn't even look at the other part.
It's a power of suggestion with the first thing you see.
Yeah.
I'd like them to try.
But like for me, I'm a business owner. I love that question. How important do you feel it is to improve the appearance of downtown Topsfield? I would want to answer that as a retail person, as a business owner.
Yep, I agree, Tom.
That's not a business question, but I have input on that. I, as a business owner, would like to see improvements made in the town. So I don't know. I think that there are a lot of questions that business owners would want to check off that really aren't business related. They're related to the overall big picture of the town in the downtown area.
Yeah, good point, Tom.
I mean, I could move it. If I moved it to the top of the survey, then, they could be like, I'm done and not complete it too. That's, I think, why it's at the end.
You know what I think we should I think we should leave it the way it is, because honestly, I think most people are going to take an interest and they're going to want to go right through this and put check marks on the things that are there.
It's easy enough to do. There are no mandatory questions, so they can skip it if it doesn't pertain to them. Right. If they don't want to answer it, they don't have to.
I mean, we're overanalyzing it, which is good, but I think the average person that I know will want to give their input and put these little check marks on all these categories because they want to see things grow. They want to see things improve. They want other things in the town. And I think they do. They're quality people that take the time to give their input.
Okay, great. Can we move on? We have one really quick section left. Is that okay to move on?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Just as far as a mailing list for the businesses that you were talking about, Main Street Foundation, it might be dated, but about, Martha, you can corroborate this, but about 8 or 9 years ago, did an entire mailing list of every single solitary business in the town of Topsfield. At-home businesses, Route 1 businesses, Main Street businesses, and I dropped that off to Town Hall I think we have that, don't we, Kevin? Don't we have it?
So isn't that what Donna gave me in our spreadsheet?
Yeah, the names might have changed, but the addresses, the brick and mortar parcels are probably still existing. So
I'm pretty sure we have it.
A good idea of how many parcels of businesses there are, and a lot of them still exist. So anyway, if anybody can dig that up, I can't dig it up.
That list was generated in the town clerk's office.
Yes, I
Okay.
think we have it. I think it was already uploaded to our spreadsheet.
We
Yeah,
have we had that sheet. We also created one right when the pandemic hit between our contacts through the building department and our business certificates.
Oh,
And we
good.
combined that in conjunction with the documents that we had on file already. So we have basically an updated version that we use.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. Just want to make sure.
But thank you for the great work 10 or 9 years ago, because that was the baseline for us to be able to do what we did more recently. Thank you.
And on to housing.
Yes. So Kevin suggested we add housing. I only put a couple of questions here, but I will say personally, I'm concerned about adding questions about housing. Because with everything that's going on with the MBTA proposal, I think there's a lot of
Scared and angry. Well, there's a little both.
Yeah. I
Completely
don't
in
want
agreement,
to
Sarah.
add. I don't want to finish. I want people to finish the survey feeling hopeful, like the residents, and I don't want them to finish it on housing. There's that MBTA thing. I just think it's the timing.
Can we just get rid of it?
To be doing the master plan, so I feel like maybe that work would reach out to the community, but that's just my personal opinion. But Kevin, you might be able to say what you're trying to get out of the housing questions.
Yeah. So we're looking at, I think the business one is, and restaurants and retail and all the things we talked about are incredibly important. That's, the guts of what we're trying to do. But I think there's going to be, I'm thinking about the target markets, target audience, people are going to be there. And I think to myself, there are going to be people, they're real estate professionals who want to know what the potential investment opportunities might be in town. And I kind of gave a very open-ended, when Sarah and I talked, like, to Sarah and said, hey, you can put some questions on paper. We'll talk about it. We'll figure out if it works. These are great. I think what you're all saying is spot on, though.
I think if we were in a time where that wasn't happening right now, Kevin, this would be a valid and safe question to ask.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that people are freaking out.
Yeah, I agree.
And I agree that this really isn't the place for the housing. If we do a master plan, this is the kind of stuff that would be coming out of research and communications with the community about housing. I do think, Kevin, that at the actual business forum, the day of the event, someone should talk about mixed use, because that is a really good opportunity for people, for people who might be interested in investing in a parcel, somewhere in the business districts, and for them to know that mixed use is allowed by right, that there's no special permitting involved, that it's it's something that we encourage, and that it could be something that investors would be interested in.
What if we change this up a little bit, and instead of just like calling it housing, which tends to scare people for various reasons, what if we call it residential opportunities, something like that? So, obviously we do have a few things being built, and instead of calling it housing, which is a red flag for a lot of people, do you think there's a need for more residential opportunities? So, and then you can go into just this basic question down here, and it takes out the word housing, which is a hot button, and then it leaves into just more residential stuff. And we still kind of get the data, but we're not.
Well, personally, I think there is so much misinformation about all of these different kinds of, we're now calling them residential opportunities. The word affordable housing for some people is what they think they can afford, as opposed to what the state says it is. That in this final piece, there isn't enough information, I think, and I don't think that people know enough to be able to make decisions about this at the end of the survey. That all of these different, types of housing need, really serious explanation. And so what you're going to get, the answers will be what we usually hear from people who think about housing and residential opportunities. They're going to say we need affordable housing, we need multifamily housing. They're going to say, that we already sort of know what many people are going to say. And then other people are going to say, we don't need any more, we have enough. So I just think that without proper information and background, I just think it's not a good thing to include in this survey.
So I think had leaned towards the side of some of the people that we are inviting or looking to have at this business showcase is residential developers, ones that will build. And, this is what they do. If we don't have a section that somewhat generalizes and says, there might be an opportunity for you here, then I think we're missing them bringing their money and their opportunities to us. And can this be worded better? Kevin?
I just wonder.
Put something like, oh, sorry, Zilly.
Well, I was just wondering, to me, I totally hear that point of view for wanting some of that data, but to me, it's not part of when the introduction at the beginning is all about business, traffic patterns, retail, recreation.
Housing is a business.
Developers.
Housing is business. Owning multifamilies is a business for some people.
So none of the other questions up until this point talk about residential development at all. Like we have all these examples. I'm just going through the sections right now off the Zoom.
Right. So you have restaurant, grocery stores, retail. But housing is a huge business. I think wording it properly is important. We are looking at having people that want to build and develop come to the showcase and not having anything that pertains to them. They're going to leave going.
Right. This isn't, not having data points for them, you mean? Because this isn't for them. This is for the community.
My experience, such as it is that people who are in real estate development are always looking for land, looking for opportunities, and they know where they are, and they do come to Topsfield, to do subdivisions. They do come to Topsfield to do elderly, housing districts. We've had a lot of activity, so it's not as though Topsfield is off the map when it comes to real estate development.
Neither are the restaurants or anything like that. We have 3 pizza places. Those aren't off the map either, but we're still inviting people to come and bring restaurants to us. We're still talking about adding a big opportunity for developers to come. Maybe they are developing multifamily housing or condos, whatever it is. I think that the housing is a hot topic right now. So calling it housing is going to be not, but we still need to have a data point to show developers that this is here. People do want more housing choices here. Just how do you word it correctly so it's done?
Residential opportunities. I mean, think about this. Some investor came and they wanted to buy the plaza and Peter was willing to sell it. Don't you think it would be good to have small condos built above all of those stores?
Multi-use. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. Right. So you have to expand it, but really, how awesome would that be to have, a facade on the top with all small condos above each one of those stores? So I think we should just call it residential opportunities.
So just a couple quick ones. One thing is, there's a limited amount of rental opportunities in town. I don't know if that might be a mixed use, single family, senior housing, affordable housing, multifamily housing. Maybe just rental as a general category.
Yep.
Just to recognize, because I think there's people that would probably notice that. We could also ask, where do you, a lot of times this will happen in the master plan. I'm going to end with a kind of pivoting and giving both sides of this argument back. But when you do a master plan, some of the basic questions you ask people, you put a map out. And to Martha's point, these are questions that'll come out in the master plan process. And so to kind of throw it in is not providing the education in the background necessarily for people to be able to make an informed response. But at the same time, a question like, where do you think all things as you understand and where would you like to see activity? Where would you like to see further growth opportunities? Is it Route 1, downtown, other? That was sort of some of the thoughts on this, but I'm honestly either way on this. I can see us going heavy on the other elements because it's very, very comprehensive and it's in a very good way. And to Sarah's point at the end, kind of going with housing, I'm not afraid of people answering a survey and necessarily getting upset, but it certainly might not be the positivity at the end of the day that we'd like people to walk away from either.
Well, that's why it's at the end, right? Why it's at the end, so they can leave mad. Slam the door and go.
As I say, this is a much more complicated topic.
Right, but we're not printing zoning laws with any of the other business opportunities we're asking information about. What do you want here? Not can you do it? Not anything. What is the town looking for? So this is the same type of question worded correctly. We'll get the same type of data. What are you looking for in residential development opportunities? Are you looking for these things? It's just a data point that isn't technical, which is the same thing we're doing. We know we can't have drive-throughs, but we're not telling people that they can't or citing a zoning law in it. We're looking for, this is like an opinion-based survey. What are they looking for? And as long as it's worded the right way and it's not, it's not free housing, whatever.
Well, I think
we need this.
I think a compromise possibly might be, again, I'm kind of off the Zoom and scrolling up. There's that question in either the first or second section that starts with geographic location. In what region of town would you like to see increase in business activity by the following types of business? And then it has a list and it has downtown Route 1, other, no increase desired. And on that list right now, it has lodging. And I'm wondering if we might add residential opportunities or list a couple of types of residential. Maybe that's the place, because my concern is just that putting it at the end to me actually feels like that's the last thing I'm thinking of. And I would maybe, if I'm someone who doesn't understand everything and is a little bit alarmed by this MBTA thing and doesn't understand it, and I fill out this whole survey and then that's at the end, I might take it a different way than we're intending. And I might feel like this was snuck on me. Like, oh, now you're also trying to trick me into like this other topic. Whereas if it's included more with all of it, it might give us the data that you want.
I don't think that we can leave it completely out though. I mean, I don't like housing and then, because, nobody wants Topsfield overbuilt. Nobody that lives here wants that. Right. That the whole MBTA thing is freaking everybody out.
Yeah.
Everyone. And I'm in real estate and everyone is freaking out, including agents and stuff in our small little towns. Like we're all a little unnerved by it. Right. So but I don't think we can leave it out completely, because we're looking to have people that would develop parcels, say on Route 1 and 2, mixed use. Are they shopping centers below and condos above? I think we have to have that data.
Yeah.
Well, I think
putting it in that section would give you that.
Yeah.
The section that she's playing with.
I think,
but then every other one breaks out into another category where you get to answer a few questions on it. So that's the concern there. So all of these other ones end up in another category, and then we're just going to forget housing completely.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be a lot less intimidating. I do think that people might interpret that housing section as being tied in with what the town has to do or would maybe do about the MBTA housing.
And they might interpret some of the other stuff like we're looking to get a full service bar that parties till 2 a.m. That's not the point of the survey. We're just looking to get some feedback on certain things. Proper placement and proper wording for that. I just don't think that, I don't think it would be fair to leave that type of, because that is a business opportunity in itself. to build and have. So what if we can get a little shopping center on Route 1 that has residential apartments above it or condos or whatever it is? Leaving that out is we're missing a chunk of development.
Well, I think it works well here, don't you think?
I think Rosie's point was that putting it here, we have other things listed here that then each, like retail has another section devoted to it. Restaurants has another section devoted to it. And so then it would naturally, putting it here would naturally progress to have also
Another section.
Right. I agree with it, other than the fact that everybody is in that mindset right now. And I've been burned enough times by people who don't understand what's going on and jump to conclusions.
I guess that, like, I hear, Rosie, your argument, definitely. I guess for me, the difference is, like, you know, opening a restaurant or two in terms of how it might transform the town. It seems so minor compared to, you know, potentially having to fit 15 units of housing per acre over 50 acres, which, you know, it's like, you know, like a, I don't know. It's just like, it just would change. The threat that people perceive to the community is so enormous. Like, none of us can even wrap our heads around it. Right?
Let them tell us then. This is what we're doing. I don't want to skew the survey based on what's best for people's emotional feelings at the end of the day. I want them to tell us that they don't want this. And maybe the data was there in 2019, but this is now. And I want them to tell us. I want them to say, yes, we're introduced in this. Yep. I mean,
we're already at
housing.
8:15 and Kevin has to get off in 15 minutes. So if I could just do a poll so that we get a sense of everybody and whether they think the housing should be on or off, or if they like Zilly's suggestion to just include it up above. So Martha, on or off?
Well, I'm not on
the committee. Is the committee voting? Yeah.
Just to get a sense before the committee votes, Martha's just on the top of my list. So Martha, you're doing the master planning. Do you think this is helpful or not?
Well, first of all, I believe it shouldn't be here, but I'm not on your committee. And if it is here, the categories need to be fixed.
Okay. Sarah, on or off the housing?
Go first. I guess I would be okay with leaving it if we could define things better.
Okay, Tom?
Leave it where it is, but remove the word affordable.
Okay, and Rosalie, I know you are
here.
Leave it on.
I am leave it on, but it needs to be worded differently.
Okay.
Which I will happily help with.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, I would want it to be sequenced also differently, so it has a natural progression, just like the others did, related to the question about where people think different types of businesses belong, like if they want them.
Thanks.
I'm still here.
Yep. Hi, Janet.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Off. It just complicates. It makes it too long. It complicates everything. You're talking about businesses and all of a sudden you're talking about housing. It's just, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see, anyone else besides myself on here? Alex?
Yeah, I say leave it on.
Okay. I personally think it's going to be very inflammatory, but if you can reword it to get to the issue of housing more downtown, because I don't think the businesses are going to care about housing, additional housing in the rest of the area. I think they're going to care more about activity in the downtown if they're going to be bringing a business in there. So I like Zilly's suggestion of more the location of the housing being added in there. But all right, so I think there's enough input for the people doing the survey to go back and to finalize this. The only other point that I would add is just, getting it out there. When do people have to get the responses back in? Are we moving fairly quickly because of the timing of this?
We don't need a lot of time to crunch the data. It's basic questions. We're gonna look at it. I'd like it back, it's April. I'd like it to go out by next week. And then, you run it till, I don't know, the 15th of May.
Okay, so you just let everybody know.
When is the showcase? June what?
7th?
Okay.
Yeah. We need it like maybe a week or two before. I mean, we're already I think that if I'm right, Kevin, we'll have the presentation portion of this kind of ready to roll and just plug it in what the data we're looking for to go.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So it literally could be the week before and then it's plug and play.
Okay, so then people are just notified of that, so they have an opportunity to answer it, and not get shut off. We'll let them know when we need it by.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything at town meeting, Kevin, with it? Either to talk about it, have copies of it?
We could do that. It's not a terrible.
I'll make a QR code, Kevin, so people can just scan it.
Nice. Yeah,
we can have a few copies to go, but it has to be online because I'm not hand tallying data, so they're gonna have to scan it with their phone, and if they don't have a smartphone, they can go home with a little website to whatever the address is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tell them where to find it on the town page.
I'm being paged. I've got to go. I want to say you did a great job on this. I think it's really terrific. And so congratulations for the people who worked on it and put it all
Mostly
together.
Sarah.
Yeah, mostly Sarah. Well, Sarah, great job.
Thank you.
But it's really excellent. And so thanks so much for doing it. But
and thank you all for spending however long we just spent on this. The feedback is so important, and we want to get it right. So I really appreciate going through it question by question.
Okay. Yeah, good night all.
I know. Okay, Martha, have a good night. Now Kevin's got to jump off in 15. So Kevin, your downtown update in 15 minutes or less.
Well, just wanted to say thank you again. Great conversation, important conversation, made a lot of headway tonight. RFP for the master plan. We're trying for the business showcase to have the RFP in hand, ready to go and printed out on a table for the event so people can walk home with it and say, okay, here's the opportunity. Here it is. Donna's our procurement agent, does the RFPs, retires in about a little less than 3 weeks. She's been working on it for some time, but we might need to find some additional help to get it over the finish line. So I've been reaching out today to people to try to support it. MAPC has a grant technical support. I reached out to Mass Housing for technical support, Mass Development, for technical support. Without having the support here through a planner, it just makes it's difficult. But we're going to do everything in our power to make sure we have that RFP ready, because that's in my mind, that's the big reason we're doing this. There's a great opportunity. We want the people in those seats to have the chance to really think about it, review it, and take it home. So we're working hard on that. Talked about MBTA multifamily, so I won't go any further into that. Business showcase, some really great work happening. We might come back and ask for some more people to pitch in as we get closer. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but the planning components of it have been really successful to date. Rosalie, thank you. I think Alex is here too. Alex, have been incredible help pulling it together.
Kevin, can I just go back for 1 second? Are you saying the RFP for the master plan will be handed out, or for the old highway garage?
Did I say the master plan? I'm sorry. I'm getting very tired.
That's okay. Okay.
The garage, the master plan. Yes, master plan. Excuse everything I just said. Everything I just said is for the garage.
Okay.
Master plan. We have an RFP draft sitting on my desk. I've worked with Martha. We truly believe we need to have some form of planner here during the process to support us. And so we're working on maybe finding alternative sources to help us through that. But that's that's a really important component of the master plan moving forward at this point. Building inspector, we have an offer out. We have an accepted offer. I can't release a name yet, but we're really excited for the person who's taken the job. More to come on that. Website, looking to actually roll out the next week or so with the updated website. It's come a long way. Social media. The reason I texted with Stephanie, she said the reason you might not be receiving updates, for those who mentioned before the meeting not getting updates, is engagement. If you have to like, share, do something with the post, and typically then it makes it come through your feed.
I can also teach everyone the next meeting how to go on and follow so you get notifications. I'll share my screen and we can do it, and I'll show you how to do it. So every time there's a post, it'll show up as a notification and you can check it and then you can like it, share from there. So next time I'll give a little tutorial on how to do that real quick.
Awesome. And then we all know what's going on with the shopping center. Maybe we don't, because no one really knows exactly what's happening with the shopping center, but we've got a lot of negative publicity around it. It's so unfortunate. All the amazing things that we've been doing as a group and as a team, all the steps forward we've been making, the progress, building the foundation for all these things to come. And all it takes is a really big pothole, a piece of plywood and a cone and a Facebook post to set us back, multiple steps. That said, it's the reality. And we've been steadfast to try to address this professionally with Mr. Flump well before I've been here, but that's been my goal since I've been in the role I've been here in Topsfield. And I've had a few meetings with him. I'm trying to get another meeting with him. We've got some opportunities to try to partner with him to try to get him on board. And one of those is through the downtown, the business and development showcase, to try to have him participate by one of the properties, specifically the Santander space, being one of the items that we showcase. It's a beautiful building. Doesn't matter who owns it. It's a beautiful building. And there's opportunity there. So if we can get him to participate there, maybe that gets some goodwill. The second is really we've talked about doing a pocket park in that general area, really putting something out on the table for him to think about, opportunity for us to take over some of the beautification of that area if we can, using ARPA money to help us get there. So that's what's in the works. Still some work to be done there. And then lastly, and not to steal any thunder of anybody who might be a member of this committee, but I am super excited to be able to go down the street and get a coffee in the morning at Zoomies in downtown Topsfield. Spectacular. I was there this morning for a business meeting and it was packed. I saw Tom and it was packed and people seem to be really enjoying it. And I hope it's working out for you, Zilly, because you got a lot of people in this town right behind you with this. It's a great space. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a nice little plug.
We're
Very
so
happy to be here.
There, Zilly.
Kevin, before you go,
yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
Every time I take a walk, I wonder when I'm going to be able to sit on that solar bench. Do you have an update on that?
So we're trying to get Mark from Specline, who has to read the Polish instructions for us and tell us how it actually works. And then once we get those explained to us, we'll be able to put it out. The plan is this week or next is to go up to the garage with Mark. He's going to show us the ropes. We'll get it put on our phones so that we can control the audio components of it. But once we have the tutorial, the guys are ready to deploy it. We're also deploying, we mentioned earlier, hopefully a cleaned up parklet. And we've been talking with Martha Morrison and the Garden Club. We're actually looking to do 15 planters this year and one large planter to add to the 10 that we put out last year. So, well, not to add, that would be the total. So it'd be 10 up to 15 plus the large one. And super exciting. And the plants are going to be in the lights soon, and it's all going to come together. Really great things happening right now. Excited.
So the solar bench, Kevin, would be out in May before we have the showcase?
Oh, I hope to have it out in the next week or two. As soon as we get the tutorial, we're going to deploy. Nice weather's coming. And we're going to put it Cargile's insurance side, right there where the existing bench is. We'll pull that bench off and we'll put it right there.
Very
And
nice.
we'll see how it goes.
Great. Any questions for Kevin?
Just what's the date again for the business showcase? The date and the
June
time?
7th. June 7th.
June 7th, and starting
9:30. Rosalie, is it 9:30?
Okay.
9:30. We're gonna go 9:30.
I think it's 9:30
okay.
after everyone sends their kids off to school.
Yeah, exactly. Try to let people avoid the rush hour if we can.
Great. Anything else for anyone?
Quick thing, Kevin, don't you think, I know it's private property, but don't you think we could make an exception and have the DPW put some coal tar in that pothole and fill it in? Do you think people would really be upset that we're doing something on private property? But don't you think it would be worthwhile?
Doing my honest opinion.
I just asked, like, why wouldn't we?
I think that if we do anything, it needs to be comprehensive. If we try to fix something like that, first we're going to own him. He's not going to fix them, and we're going to be filling all his potholes.
No, as a one-time exception to fill that in with some extra tar that we have in the garage or whatever. I mean, I think it would benefit everyone, and I don't think anyone would complain about it. But really, just like a one-time thing.
There's no such thing as a one-time thing.
If I send a DPW truck to fill it, people already confuse the fact that we don't own it. We get a lot of people calling us, and the optics of it. Someone takes a picture. Our insurance company would be happy. There's a lot of things I'd be concerned with.
And if they are unhappy with it in any way, shape, or form, it makes the town liable.
That's what I was going to say. Knowing what he already thinks of us, why wouldn't he sue us for filling his pothole?
Yeah, but if we fill
And he could.
I know.
Didn't you say that they were going to do it in the next couple of weeks when the weather got warmer? Is that not the case still?
So the broker and I have been talking on a regular basis since, well, we talk anyway, but more recently and more regularly since the pothole arrived. And when I talked to him, he said that Peter had told him that mid-April is when he gets his asphalt, his truck or whatever it is, and he goes around and does his pothole. So that's why nothing's been done, because he does it either with a vendor he works with closely or himself. I know he does a lot of the work himself. And that's really been what the holdup is on the fill there. It's going to get done according to them. I believe it will get done because I can't believe he still has insurance at this point, but that's not I'm not his insurance company, but that's the plan, is in the next week or two.
Okay, thanks.
Well, unfortunately, Kevin, that's going to be the elephant in the living room is when we have this showcase and we're like promoting Topsfield, and all these prospective, investors are walking down Main Street or driving down Main Street, and they're going to look over there and they're going to go, "Oh my God, what the hell is that?" It's just a sad situation. And I know that you've done Compliment Page. We've done all kinds of things to figure out what to do. But, at some point in time, we just have to really figure out how the town can rectify that situation.
So I think the one thing I would say if you're a real estate investor, you're looking at opportunity. You're looking at where the deferred maintenance is, what property can you get in and improve and make some equity on it. Yep. And Rosalie's saying, yes, she's a real estate professional. Before I did this, I was a redeveloper. So, and I know Alex, you're doing it as well. I mean, that's actually, I see it the other way. I see it as an opportunity for residents in the beautification of the downtown. Developers going to see what we've done. We're going to tell them what to look for in the presentation. And when they go out and explore, they're going to say, okay, yeah, they are doing these things. And that's an opportunity that if we put some polish on that, we raise it, we rebuild, we put some condos, as Tom said, on top, there's your opportunity. And whether he buys it or sells it, I should say, Peter, that's a whole nother story. But I think that the fact we have a place where there's just like the garage, we're going to point people to the garage. Look at that deferred maintenance. Look at that opportunity. We're selling it. Here's an RFP. They're going to see that they're getting on the ground floor in something that's pretty special. At least that's my perspective. That's how I looked at it when I was in the business.
Everyone wants a good deal right now. Something that looks hurt, that they can invest in and make money on. Nobody wants to buy something that's brand new, top of value, and not make any money on it for 5 to 10 years for investment purposes. So I actually don't think it's a bad thing. It might not be available to sell or anything like that, but it's opportunity. Somebody else making a phone call, and maybe it doesn't come through the town, but maybe we have somebody in that can get him to sell it.
And I think and Janet, I said all that. Now I'm going to go 180 degrees. If I'm looking to open up a restaurant or a retail space, he's attracted perfectly imperfect, which is good. I'm going to look at that space. I'm going to run for the farthest space away from it. Right. That's the people who are not going to necessarily see the opportunity there per se, but you need a mix of both types of opportunities. And if you walk downtown, there's so many special things going on. You're going to go to Zoomies. You're going to see what Institutional for Savings is doing. You're going to see Tom's shop. You're going to see the lights. You're going to see the flowers. You're going to see a lot of really good things going on. And hopefully the restaurants, the retail, they'll see the opportunities there. The Plaza, I think, is a redevelopment place for redevelopers, people who have the wherewithal and the appetite to invest. That's where they're going to look and say, "Ooh, that's interesting." But it's diverse in that sense, which I don't think is a bad thing. That's why we're doing this.
Any last thoughts? Because I know Kevin's got to jump off. Any other questions or comments?
Oh, the only thing I was going to quickly say is on April 30th, there seems to be a couple of different things happening in town that day. It's the town cleanup day, but Art Room is also hosting something with Lucy's Love Bus. And that might be a good day if we have a QR code for the survey to promote. Because I feel like if it's good weather, there's going to be people out and about. And Zoomies is already having a lot of people asking about playing music. So,
Dilly, can we put the QR code up in Zoomies?
Absolutely, yeah. So right now, maybe right after the Easter egg hunt, because at the moment, I only have 2 slots for special things that get promoted.
Okay. Great. I'll get one laminated too, so it's nice and you won't have to replace it.
And thanks, Rosalie.
Okay.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn, please? Okay, Janet, is there a second?
Second.
Kevin. All right. Roll call. Sarah?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Rosalie?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Janet?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Zilly?
Aye.
And Lynn is an aye, so it is unanimous. Thank you all so much.